Alrighty, welcome to this month's We Speak Linux seminar. Excuse me. We are a group that teaches Windows administrators and developers Linux through things like presentations, which you're going to see one today that's going to be fantastic, blog posts, and peer support, which we will do via Twitter, Slack channel, however you want to get a hold of us, with the goal of growing a community of Windows administrators and developers ready to administer Linux in this new cross-platform universe that we live in. So today we have the one, the only Max Trinidad. He's going to show us some SQL Server cross-platform scripting, breaking the barrier. And so while Max is presenting today, go ahead and join us in the Slack channel at #webinar_chat and hit us up there. Or if you're not in Slack, feel free to use the GoToWebinar chat panel or even on Twitter. And so from a community standpoint, go ahead and check out our webpage. If you made it to today's webinar, you're already subscribed to our newsletter and to the meetings. Join in Slack, where there's a link right there for you guys. On Twitter as well, go ahead and @ us on the Twitters. And all the presentations, except the ones that we mess up and don't upload to YouTube, will be uploaded to YouTube for you guys to watch afterwards. Next month, I'll be doing a presentation on OpenSSH for Windows Pros. It'll be a little bit longer of a session. We're going to cover some internals. We'll also go through cross-platform PowerShell remoting and all that fun stuff using OpenSSH. And so with that, let's go ahead and hand it off to Max and get him started. So let me know when you have the handle, Max. I should have asked you.
Anthony,
yes?
I cannot hear you, but if you hear me, let me know when can start.
Did I lose?
Okay, show my screen. Okay, now the thing is, I don't know which screen this thing is showing.
Max, can you hear me?
Show. See your screen. Okay, well, trying to get to my.
Can you hear me, Max?
Screen. I want to show my thing, and I have a split screen in here. Okay, so I'm going to put them in here.
There we go.
All right, so let me get started. Okay, perfect. So my name is Maximo Trinidad. I'm sorry for all the delay. I can't hear the host all of a sudden it disappears, so I apologize for that. But this is a session I'm going to give to you, SQL Server Platform Scripting, Breaking Barriers. It's all oriented about cross-platform. As I mentioned before, my name is Maximo Trinidad. I'm VP for 9 years now, and I'm enjoying doing this for all the community of SQL Server and PowerShell and automation. In this slide, I will include a couple things you might be interested on, so feel free to, I'm gonna pass information to our host, and so that way it can be, you can download it and use it for your purpose. We do love geeks. We are geeks. All right. Of course, I'm a Sapient Technology Evangelist, so this session will also sponsored by my company, by Sapient Technology, that I represent on, and that's because I've used all their tools for many years. Since 1998, I've been using their products. Our agenda of the day, what's available for SQL Server cross-platform scripting, managing your PowerShell packages and modules, because without those packages, you won't be able to produce scripting for SQL Server. Needed requirements, and of course, we go for what everything wants, some real-time demos. Okay. All right, so what's available for SQL Server platform scripting? As you all know, SQL Server originally was meant for Windows environment, and through all the evolution of SQL Server, ever since SQL Server 2008, finally there's some modules that became available for PowerShell for you to manage SQL Server. Of course, through the period of time, there hasn't been that much of a change in the SQL Server modules. That's why, thanks to the SQL Server community, they came up with a lot of more modules and have their own version of SQL PS, and which have increased a lot the value of using this module to help you automate things when you work and manage with SQL Server. Now, everything is based on what is called SQL Server Management Objects. This is the .NET framework that helps you manage your SQL Server. And I can have you in the slide here. On previous version up to 2016, you have what is called the feature pack. And those are the individual components you can load for SQL Server Management Object. You can find them there and load them on your machine. One thing for sure, don't think that in order to have SMO installed on a Windows server, you need to install the whole engine. You don't. You can install the framework and you can script against what is installed, and it will be available on that server. So just keep that in mind. You don't need to have the SQL Server engine on a server if you want to have only the framework installed. So originally, you have SQL Server module, different versions, okay? You have version 1, and I think it's version 14. 14 is the one provided by the community. On SQL Server 2017, now things change. You have the SQL Server module, which is loaded separately. On the previous version, the installation of SQL Server will install the SQL PS module automatically for you. Now, in SQL Server 2017, you have to go to the PowerShell gallery and download the SQL Server module, okay? There's a couple of things missing in them as the evolution to cross-platform DLLs becomes available, so you can install in both Linux and Windows for the purpose of cross-platform scripting, okay? Mentioning here, one of them is the invoke SQL command is missing, and also the restore SQL database. So those are the things you might have to invest a little time in scripting. You can do backups on both Windows, use the backup commandlet in both Windows and Linux, and works great. The restore part, then you have to, work a little bit more on that. Of course, we hope that eventually Microsoft will provide us with those tools, or if not, it's gonna become one of the tasks of the community, SQL Server community, to help provide that. Now, on the Nugget side, which is the Windows packaging management, we have a separate set of DLLs that you can download, and this now has become cross-platform, okay? And I provided the link there. Was the latest, it's a preview version, but that's the latest one that you can download and experiment. If everyone have tried to use the SQL Operation Manager, which used to be known as the Carbon project, but this is the one that allow you to install a similar, it's based on the same technology that VS Code was created, but it's used to manage your SQL Server cross-platform. You can install it in Windows and Linux. Now, that said, that technology is based on what is called the SQL Server Tools for Services, which is all the set of SMO libraries available for the SQL Server Operational Studio. And it is open source. So, which means you can go ahead and download, and you can also experiment with this. And basically what it is, you unzip all these DLLs into a particular folder. It doesn't matter if it's in Windows or in Linux. And you point to that folder when the DLLs are, and you can start your scripting. Those are the different methods that you can use, all the different tools you have available to start your cross-platform scripting. Now, on the one hand, I've just give you here a set of commandlets that help you manage and work with packages in this case, a set of libraries that you can install in your systems. That's very important to understand and how those work. And then on the SQL PS gallery, which is more likely all your modules that you can download. One thing to keep an eye on is that most of the modules on the PS gallery are oriented to Windows, but now we have the ability to kind of like do a search, or even when you install them, it will not tell you that you cannot install them yet in Linux, but so you have to keep an eye on that. Do the due diligence at searching for the module and confirm that is cross-platform oriented. In the case of SQL Server, it is. SQL Server module is provided by Microsoft, and they're trying their best to have it fully compatible for both Linux and Windows. Most of the commandlets will work, but it's just a matter of it's not open source, unfortunately, because it's managed by Microsoft team. But at least you can go ahead and try them. And if there's any issues, you got to go to the user voice forum on SQL Server and provide the feedback to them. Okay, but at least this is the essential commandlets or how can you use it. Just look at this one. It says find module and name and allow pre-release. That parameter is very important, especially when you do the install dash package or the install dash module, because that will install the latest code that's not yet released production, but at least you can test with them and provide feedback. Now here I provided an example of how some of the commandlets that you can use for get used to work with packages, and it's very important, especially the one on the install says this is the name for the SQL Server SMO package, SQL Server SQL Management Objects. Okay, and of course, most important is you will notice if you do the get module dash list available, that sometimes you might have the same module loaded multiple times because it's multiple versions. I provided here, you can also use the uninstall package or uninstall module with all versions in order to remove them, and you have a clean slate. You can start with a clean slate and install the latest module. Okay, so keep that in mind when you install module and or packages. There might be the possibility that you install in multiple versions. And you want to make sure you have only one particular version to use. Okay. All right, as Anthony mentioned, he's going to have a session on OpenSSH. It's very important to understand that. For me, I find it very easy to understand in this basic concept, and it allows you to connect even Linux to Linux, Linux to Windows, or Windows to Linux in a very secure. The SSH is very known for so many years, so that's a very secure protocol to use. So don't be afraid to try it, give it a shot, and you have the ability to do a little lab area with your VMware workstation or Hyper-V. Go ahead and try it. If you have that ability, go ahead and use it. PowerShell Core right now is in version, the generally availability one is on 6.1, and I really appreciate if you guys go ahead and try it. It won't hurt. You can go side by side with Windows PowerShell, and on the Linux environment, it works great. It gives you the ability to understand the .NET scripting framework for automation. And then again, for all Linux administrator, no. PowerShell is not a substitute of Bash. It's never meant to be that way. It just gives you another set of tools, especially .NET objects is very important. It's very easy to use. You can simplify a lot of work with handling text. And for automation purpose, that's producing .NET object-oriented framework, okay? So it's not going to substitute Bash. It's not going to substitute Python. No, it's to work just side by side with all those Linux technology, which Python, Ruby, come on. Those were already cross-platform long time ago than PowerShell. So it makes it a very good companion. Now, on Windows 10, WSL, Windows System for Linux, for those who have Windows and want to experience or start learning Linux, this is the best way to go because it's not a VM. It's a subsystem that side by side with Windows system, and give you all the essential for you to understand command line, bash, and of course install PowerShell on it, Python. You can install Anaconda, which is one of the big. I love Anaconda because when you install Anaconda, you install all the modules, all those packages at one time, and you can start using it for scripting. If you want to do mix scripting with Python and PowerShell, go ahead and do it. It's fun, and you'll find a very, very useful tool to use when you want to manage and manipulate data, output data for a certain purpose, especially for documentation. And then again, here we come with SQL Server Management Object, right? Different ways to use it, okay? You install SQL Server module, which is the latest, you know, SQL Server 17, SQL Server 2019, and down. Of course, remember, you can use that module to all different SQL Server, knowing especially that, oh, there might be some feature might not work, but that's why you do all the tests. Or you just only install the SMO, right? Yeah, just the SMO part, just the DLLs, and you can start scripting. Just adding a little set of block of code they're gonna show in order to make access to those DLL, and then the rest you just script as normal as .NET Management Object on SQL Server. One of the most important thing is if you have any issues in Linux and or Windows on PowerShell Core, you can go ahead and inform those and report those in GitHub. Okay, easy, because it's open source. The PowerShell team is always there, so you will find the help and the solution, and even providing the feedback. It will be tackled in kind of like very fast. Now, Windows PowerShell, you understand very well. It's complete. It's done. Every issues is only going to be addressed if it's high priority due to customers' needs, but it has to be reported on the user voice. Any Windows PowerShell reported on PowerShell Core is not going to be taken care of unless it's related to something with PowerShell Core. Okay. And of course, NuGet issues, you're going to go ahead and report it in GitHub on OneGit site. All right. So the demo part. This is the interesting part. Okay. So let's go straight to the demo. Move this thing in here because I think this is the screen you guys are watching. So, all right. So here, no, I'm not using VS Code. This has been my editor of choice for many years, and not because I just started working with Sapient Technology, but as a matter of fact, I learned a lot more working with them than the way I was using it before. So this is my editor, and we're going to go straight to the scripting side of here. So as I mentioned before, let's see if you can find it here. Working with SMO. First, you're going to install the packages, right? And one thing you're going to realize is, let me increase this a little bit more. Sidebar here. All right, so increase this here. All right, so first you got to install it, right? So it goes to the gallery and you install SQL Server if you want to install the SQL Server module. This, now, think about this. I'm showing this in Windows, in my Windows editor. The command line can be anywhere, okay? Doesn't matter if you're in Linux, doesn't matter if you are in Windows or on a Mac, okay? Thing is, you open PowerShell, and you can do also the Ubuntu, and you can do pwsh because I have already installed, and it doesn't matter. I can go ahead and install it in here, just copy paste from one end. You have your sessions open, you can do the copy paste into it and you can install it. And let's say here I got Clover here. See this dash Clover? If you're in a Windows environment and you do the installation of SQL Server and you have an older version of SQL Server installed, it's going to give you an error. It's going to give you an error telling you, okay, wait a minute, there is duplicate command list, I can't install it. So the allow Clover parameter will allow to install those additional same command lists in there, because when you do the import to the module, then you'll be on the right set of module to write on, to run those commandlets. Now, the package is the one that you go to NuGet, and this is the name of the package you're downloading. Okay, this is a set of DLLs that are going to be installed, and this happens on Windows or in Linux. Now, here I mentioned there's 3 ways to load SMO package. If you are downloading the SQL Tool Services library from GitHub or Windows only, of course, you got to point to the folder with the DLLs all, and then you do the assembly and load assembly add type to load those assembly into memory. Then you can start scripting. Second way is you install the package, right, from NuGet, and then you point to where, this is how you point to where those DLLs are automatically. And then you can do the add-lib after that. So this block of code will do that. The simplest way is the third way. Why? You install the SQL Server module. When you do the import SQL Server, it loads all the DLLs for you automatically, and now you can start scripting. Okay? All right, so those are 3 different levels where you can go to load those DLLs into the system so you can start scripting for SQL Server stuff. All right, now, after that's done, then we can go ahead and work with our SQL Server. Okay, so let's go for the easier way for here. Although, let's see here. All right, so here I have, what is it? Let me open my SQL PS. Okay, so I have SQL Server. I'm gonna do get dash module dash list available SQL Server. We got that version loaded in there. You can see this. How can I find the version? This tell me is an old version. Okay, so I could do uninstall dash. This is a module. Name SQL. I'll do a tab. Let's just do that. Dash, and I'm gonna do all version just to test to make sure that you see this. See, you see in Linux when you do a tab, in Windows when you do a tab, you see it automatically pick the first parameter, and then you keep tapping, and it's gonna go another parameter. In Linux, when you do a tab, you got to do it twice, and you see ALL. You see all services or allow pre-releases. Then I can go ahead and okay, so now I can double tap and autocomplete for the first version. That's the difference between Windows and SQL Server. You do a double tap, so you see the list of all of those parameters that start with the same letters. So when I gotta do this, okay, I want to get rid of that.
Quick question, Max.
And guess what happened here, right? You see, oh, it's currently used, and also will require permissions. All right, well, guess what? We need to run this in as an administrator, with high privilege. So I'm gonna go back out. We could do sudo pwsh password, and then I can do go up. Arrow up, we run the line, and now I can run and do my remove. So certain things that require administrator privilege to run, you gotta do it with a sudo in Linux. Okay. So now that I got that, now I'm gonna go ahead and install it. But this time, because it was the older version I had in there, I'm gonna do allowed pre-release. And I'm gonna do a force, just in case. And I'm installing that version. You always want to make sure after installation that that the version got installed without any issues. I'm going to show you a couple of tricks in here. So this finished installing. And this is WSL. This is my session is WSL, right? So I'm going to do get dash module list available SQL. I'm going to do star. And apparently I installed the old one. All right, well, let's just get along with this here. So do import get dash drive. Everybody who have used SQL PS module know that when you import SQL Server module, it will automatically create a SQL drive. And bring that again, and I have a SQL drive. Now, remember, we're in Linux, right? So this is a little bit of a problematic. It installed the drive, but this drive is built as a Windows authentication type, which I don't have a Windows authentication in Linux to connect to this server. So one thing that you can do is you build your own. Let's see if I have it in here. You build your own SQL Server with your administrator, SQL administrator. So that way you can access and work with the SQL drive with SQL authentication. And in this case, I give you an idea here. Oh, wait a minute, let me take this one here. Let's go to this. First, I need to create my credentials. Highlighted before. Hold on a second. Let me show you here. Copy. Okay, got my SQL authentication credentials created. Now I can go ahead and proceed to create one here. All right. Okay, so we're gonna leave that one there. Okay, just say we're gonna go to name. Now the next is gonna change my location to that drive. Get child item. All right, I connected to my Mercury SQL server, right? And just great, I can see my tables and everything. I'm gonna leave this here for a second. So now, as you can see, load a SQL module. I created a drive from another SQL server on my Ubuntu WSL Linux on my Windows. How good is that? No, but you don't know yet. We'll see here. So talking about scripting, I'm going to show you the a function that basically I created. Let me go back in here, see what else can I show you here. All right, so well, before doing that function, let's go in a little individual code here. Okay, so let's say my SQL instance here, I created my SQL instance variable here, and I'm gonna go back in here. Now I'm gonna create my credentials, and I'm gonna load some objects here. This is basically how you connect to the SQL Server. So I have my instance, my additional credential. I'm using the SQL Server DLL. Remember, I'm here in my Ubuntu WSL, passing my credential and the instance. I'm connecting. And now on this other one here, I want to select the version. I'm going to run my T-SQL select version, label as full version. And at the same time, I'm going to query that and going to bring some information out. So see how it happens. Okay, now look at this. I got SQL Server 2017 on that system that I'm querying. We still don't know what system is this, right? It's Mercury, running my WSL. All right, so what's next? Okay, well, let me get a little more information. This is line by line coding, okay? I'm testing my code first before I build the function. And here's where I have my okay, I'm extracting information from that SQL Server and displaying it on my console, right? So I go here. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I created a PS drive connecting to my Linux system on my WSL running on my Windows 10. That is so freaking cool. That is so freaking cool. But wait. Oh, wait a minute. How about now? This is when thing becomes cross-platform scripting, right? PowerShell as a scripting language becomes universal. If you have the framework loaded, meaning the .NET framework for whatever, okay, think this a little bit outside of art. I'm showing SQL Server, but could be anything else, right? Let's say now we have also the AD module available, cross-platform, right? I mean, well, maybe not cross-platform, I haven't tested that yet, but at least it's available for PowerShell Core and PowerShell Windows, and maybe could be it could work from a Linux environment if you're connected to an AD environment. All right. Although I heard some people shouting at me, don't put SQL Server on an AD. All right. Well, you have some choices there, right? Okay. So now I tested this series of lines. Now I want to build a cross-platform script to extract information from my SQL Server in my environment. So this is where here comes available. This is my cross-platform script that I created, DBA SQL information, passing my parameters, my authentication type, instance, user, password, and then of course I have an internal. This function have a beginning. Let's see here. It has a beginning section, process step, and the end. The end, because you can add some things in there if you feel like at the end of the script to do whatever. But so you have all those different steps, okay? And then of course here shows how I'm building my one-liners to access that information. So here in the beginning, here I have an internal function that from my initial values will pass through this, and then I do a try catch. Yeah, you have to use try catch in order to trap some internal errors when you're trying to run and load DLL for passing parameters. You may get some exceptions. So use the try catch block. Okay, so in this case, if it's A, of course, a SQL Server type authentication. If it's SQL Server, if it's not, we're assuming it's Windows. And you see the parameters pass here, only the server instance, because if you authenticated, you have permission, Windows permission to get to the SQL Server, then it's automatically observed. And then here you got the same way I did it on my previous one-liners, passing the instance, user and password, and then I created the connection. All right, and then after that, then you go through the process of extracting, creating the T-SQL variable to be processed by the execute with results query. And this is a very simple stuff. Now, because the version provides is a long text, here is where I extract a piece of that information. You see the split, dash. You can be very creative using .NET string methods, how to split, how to create arrays. That's what this one is doing, is splitting the content of that text into an array of string, and I'm picking element 0, which is really the first array of that element. And then after that, I'm pulling out information based on that .NET SMO information for that SQL Server. This is the property. The property contains more properties. So because you can drill down into these objects, okay? That's the most important part. You have to understand and learn about the objects. And the only way to do that is when you the get dash member object. You build one object, which is the $sign SQL Server object, and you can pipe that. I'll show you that. As a matter of fact, let me show you that now, because this is a very important piece, understanding and learning about .NET objects. Let's say here I have this object, SQL PS object, right? So that one, if I want to display, remember, .NET is a collection of objects, right? So if I do this, get dash member, it becomes your friend forever, because it's the only way you can explore your PowerShell objects. Look at that. All this information is available for you, okay? Backup devices, backup directory, properties. Properties are things that are stored, strings that are stored, or based on whatever type they're saved as. But more likely, these are things that you can display with select object. Think of select just like the T-SQL select. Select, and then you put all the field names. Well, properties here are the field names for that object. Methods, in the other hand, are things that affect the object. Revoke, you probably want to revoke a user ID, or you want to kill a process, or all process, or kill a database. Things that affect the object, things that will affect something in SQL Server. Those are you got to be careful, right? Because you don't want to kill a database, a production database, right? But it's there. I mean, do the due diligence, learn about this. This is how you learn about the objects, okay? You can do the PowerShell object that you created, pipe it to a get member and explore the objects, okay? You probably will start more with properties. So property, you cannot damage anything on SQL Server with property. It's displaying values is what it's doing, okay? So we get that in mind. So this is one going to format list is the way that it's format the output into the console, okay? And for more general purpose, you won't need this because you want the object as is, so you can manipulate more the output of the object. In SQL Server SMO 2017 or greater, these two properties are new. This is what identify the platform in the distribution, meaning that it could display. Okay, so it displays, you know, that if it's Windows, if it's Linux, CentOS, if it's Ubuntu. So that's what it does. This is new. These two properties are not available in older version of the SMO. Is only 27 SQL Server 2017 SMO and greater. Okay, so if you run this against SQL Server 2016 or 2008, it will show only null. It will not display anything. So it will not break your code, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. All right. So now to continue our journey here for cross-platform scripting. So you already know you already saw here the script, basically what is done. I'm collecting information on the SQL Server. Is any errors it will display in an exception here. And in the process here, this is the process that identify when I run the script anywhere. This is what would identify where it's running at. In matter of fact, in PowerShell Core, they have a new set of variables available, which start with is Windows, is Linux, it's Mac. Okay, this is what dictate, and this is what you can use to identify. I'm gonna run this code which is only in Windows, or I'm gonna run this code if it's only in what is not Windows. Okay, very basic. You can do the ifs. You probably can use a switch. In this case, I use an if block, and then just to display that, oh, it's running Windows, running Linux, or running Mac. And then after that, of course, the code is generic. It runs everywhere. Doesn't matter if you're running in Windows, doesn't matter if you're running in Linux or Mac, that function will run anywhere. Okay, so now here users have created a function, a cross-platform function. And to see this in action, we're going to run it right now. Let me, so it's easier if I do this. Copy. All right. And if I go here to my Ubuntu. Okay. And I'm going to do this. Let me copy it again because I know that it didn't copy. I got something highlighted before there. All right, so I have it loaded. And now if I do this, you know what? Let's run all of them. Now, wait a minute. I got this. This will not run because it requires Windows type. So I'm going to run this, copy. And I'm going to run it in here. And you can see here, I'm running in Linux. Well, oh, wait. What happened if I run it in here? Let's open a Windows version here. In this case, I'm going to run it here. But more likely, most of the people will start using this in Windows, right? But they want to access their Linux environment. So they just got to copy. Okay. And then I'm going to run my scripts here. Let's run all of this because this is a Windows environment. Do I spec errors? I may spec errors. Let's see what happened. Ah, look at this. I got some errors here. All right, no worries. Import dash module server. Let's run it again. Ah, look at this. All right, that's because I need it on my Windows. I needed to load the SMO, which loads first when I do the import module SQL Server. And now from my Windows, I have access to my Linux environment and my existing Windows SQL Server in there. How about that? It's a beauty. Oh, but wait a minute. Let's see here. Now, if I do go back to my Linux environment here, and I do enter -ps session host name and smars user name. All right, now for here, for this one, I'm gonna do a special one. Just down direction. Okay, of course, the figures is not loaded there. Let's do it the right way. And I make sure my code is loaded first. And some that copy paste a long line, they don't like it. But there you go, it's loaded. I know it's loaded. So now we can go ahead and try this again. I did the same thing. Okay, that's because I need my import. And look at that. I'm on Linux, but guess what? This is a Docker container. So now I'm able even to use my code in cross-platform, remote connected to an Ubuntu system in this case, and cat dash slash etc os release. And I can see it is amazing. I created my code can be used in any of the system, cross-platform, without any issue. Then of course, I mean, if you have an issue, you just have to just go deeper, ask, you know, use the forums. But we have a workable cross-platform scripting solution here for SQL Server, extract information on SQL Server. Okay. So let me go back in here. If you guys want any information, feel free to reach out. We'd appreciate very much you attending this webinar here, and feel free to ask questions. And
Yes, thank you, Max. Can you hear me?
okay, Anthony, can you hear me?
Max, can you hear me?
How strange that the
Yeah, he can't hear us, so.
strange that I can't hear you. Hold on a second. Let me take a look at here. Go ahead, wrap it up, sir. I can still hear you. Okay, yeah. So let me see if there's any questions in here. Let's see. I gotta get used to this thing here. Ooh. How can I expand? Okay, here we go. What about using database tools? Okay, guys, using database, the DBA tools only works in Windows. I think they're trying to work on getting it for Linux. Not sure yet, but it's going to be a little of a hurdle there. Okay, so it's going to happen. It's going to take a little bit of time, and I'll keep you posted on that. Can you Oh, that was the only question? Okay. Yeah, anything else? I mean, it's an evolution right now. So DBA tool, DBA reports, eventually it will make its way to the Linux world, and it's just going to take a little bit of work to do there. Uh, Remember, it's a big module. They have a lot of code in there to be converted on. So, all right, hit the little. Okay, gotcha. All right. Well, I guess. Well, thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate you guys being here, and I really enjoy doing this presentation, and hopefully in the future, uh, next one will be about containers and SQL Server and remoting.
Well, if you can hear me, Max, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Wait, oh, hey, Max, can you hear me now?
No, he can't hear us,
No.
unfortunately. Thanks, Max. We will thank you via Twitter.